What's up YouTube, Dale here from Zephyr, and today I am bringing you an update to Dark World. Now this isn't going to be a long video because the Dark World core pretty much stays the same. The additions and the changes to the deck do involve the brand new Mutiny cards in the form of the Yugioh and of course the Mutiny in the Sky, which I'll explain when we get to them, but basically what it does is it opens up some more fusion access to you, so you now have easier access to make colorless if you want to, and you can utilize the brand new card Lucy the Dusk Dark. So we'll talk about those as we go through it, but the idea is to show you a very quick, simple update to the Dark World strategy itself, and then I'll talk you through what those new cards add to the deck and how you can utilize them in their best possible outcome. So with all of that out of the way, please smash that like button, hit that notification bell, and subscribe to miss out on any more upcoming content. So diving headfirst into the profile with the Dark World monsters themselves, we are on Triple Genta, followed up by Triple Snow, pretty standard on this one. As I've said in all of my Dark World profile, this ratio will never really change, alongside the 3 of the new Rainbow, 2 Greffers, and then again, just my personal preference, my playstyle, and what's worked for me is the 1 gold, 1 silver, and Cerulli. And it basically just gives me that balance of going first or second. Now, don't get me wrong, if I win the dice roll, I'm going to want to be going first, and I'm going to want to try and attempt the hand rip, because that's going to be your most successful outcome. But there are times when you can't guarantee you're going to win the dice roll, and that's where Mutiny is going to come into play. That's also where gold can be very helpful for you. My ideal normal summon of choice, as always, for this one is the Quackimiru Guardian, especially when Drum Lockbird is running around. Being able to use this as your normal summon just completely says no to the first effect your opponent wants to try to activate. And if you're going second, again, you're trading a 1-for-1 with whatever they might have on the field, and it just gives you that line of protection with whatever you're facing. Then we are playing the 1 Old School Rainbow. Now the reason you need to play the Old School Rainbow is if you want to make colorless, it does specifically require Rainbow, and we have 2 ways of getting to this. We have a way to get this off a Mutiny, but more times than not, what you'll do is you'll go into Aerial Eater. Aerial Eater can then send the Rainbow from the deck to the grave, and then you can go into this. You can also unlock access to a Triple D High Wave King Caesar by utilizing Lucian in the main deck, and that is something if you wanted to, you can do. And again, that's kind of where you would make Aerial Eater off the back of Mutiny. Then, of course, you'd be able to use your Lucian to then go into the rank 6 of the Triple D High Wave King Caesar. Now, with the Yugioh, which is the brand new card we received in Duelist Advanced, it is a Fiend, it is a Dark, so it pretty much fits everything you need to. And the best thing about it is it gives you more consistency to make a Cassette Magician earlier. So this card, monsters in your leftmost and rightmost monster zones cannot be destroyed by card effect. You can use each of the following effects once per turn. If this is in your hand, you get to target a Fiend effect monster you control and negate its effects, and if you do, special on this card. If it's sent to the graveyard by any means, you get to add a Mutiny in the Sky from the deck to the hand. So if it's discarded, as long as it is sent to the graveyard, you'll then be able to trigger the effect to search you out the Mutiny, and the Mutiny is the Fusion spell card, which I'll talk about in a bit more depth in a second. But the idea behind this one is all of your Dark Worlds don't really have effects on the field. They're all effects when they're discarded. So when you're able to utilize the Yugioh to then target that Dark World monster on the field, negate its effects, or even a danger, summon it down, and obviously the danger would be Chupacabra if you played it. This would then summon down the Yugioh. The Yugioh then can utilize itself as link material, and then by linking it off, you get to search out Mutiny in the Sky. So Mutiny in the Sky lets you fusion summon a Fiend or Fairy fusion monster from your extra deck by shuffling Fiend and or Fairy monsters from the grave back into the deck as material. If this card is in the graveyard, you get to send a Fiend monster that is in your hand face up on the field to the graveyard, and then you get to add this card from the graveyard back to the hand. You won't be able to fusion again because you can only use each effect once per turn, but the other is you get to recycle it if you discard it off of danger. You then get to recycle it if you do utilize it for a turn the following turn. And as I've said, this is so easy because all of your monsters are mainly Fiends. That's probably where you might want to consider playing Jackalope in the main, playing Chupacabra in the main deck. I'm still not playing it just because it's one of the ones that I've had bad experiences with in the past. Like, I've always had it and then hit it when I don't have a danger in the graveyard. It's just like the luck of the draw. But there are utilities for it, and it might be something that I consider maybe swapping Bigfoot in and out of, depending on kind of what environment I'm going into. So for the dangers, 2 Nessie, 2 Jack, 2 Mothman, 1 honorary danger in the form of Salamander, Catalyzer, and Bigfoot. All pretty straightforward and simple on those. I don't really change them, and like I said, the only one you can consider is change the Chupacabra for the Bigfoot, and that might give you a little bit more utility. For the spell cards, pretty standard on this one again as well. So we've got the 2 gates, the 1 Accession, which is your second way of getting into the colorless, plus the 1 Archives, Puppetry, which actually worked out really, really well for me in the past, Dark Corridor, backed up by the card destruction, 2 True Tactics Thrust, and a True Tactic Talents. You can play 3 Thrust if you wanted to. The reason these are in different seasons is they're in a different deck right now that I'm using at my environment, just to kind of test that out because of the new cards. But I kind of like the introduction of the mutinies. I had a conversation with someone about this, and they kind of said that they had been testing it as well, and they did feel like a bit more of a win more option, which is exactly what they are. But I do like it as a nice kind of common alternative that lets you replace the Fiendsmiths. So now means you can make colourless without the Fiendsmiths, and it also lets you kind of unlock some other fusion plays that might be quite useful for you. So for the fusion monsters, we are playing the 1 colourless, and we are playing the 1 Grepher Dragon Overlord of the Dark World. So colourless requires the original Rainbow Overlord of the Dark World plus any more Fiend monsters, so 2 or more. If this card is fusion summoned, you get to destroy all cards your opponent controls. Its original attack and defense become the number of materials used for its summon times 1,000. And then once per turn, you get a quick effect to target a face-up card your opponent controls. Discard 1 card. Also, your opponent cannot target this that face-up card with card effects for the rest of the turn. So the benefit of this is being able to use Mutiny. Once I get back to it, just makes it so much easier. As long as you can get the Rainbow to the grave, which you have the ability to search it off of the new Rainbow, you also have the ability to send it with the Aerial Eater, which you can also make with Mutiny, and the fact you can make either of these with a Session as well can be really, really useful. So again, just as a reminder, fusion summon any Fiend or fusion monster from the extra deck by shuffling Fiend and or Fairies from the grave back into the deck. So if you're like, you know what, I want to recycle my entire graveyard, you can make it like a 10k colourless. It's just very easy to do. The other fusion target we play is the specific Lucy the Dusk's Dark. So this requires 3 Fiend and or Fairies in the graveyard. Monsters in the leftmost and rightmost main monster zone cannot be destroyed by card effects. You can use each of the following effects once per turn. You get to target 1 card your opponent controls and send a Fairy or Fiend monster from your deck to the grave. If you do, destroy that card. If another card or card you control is destroyed by card effect, etc. in damage state, you get a target card on the field and destroy it. So again, the benefits of stuff like this is this will also act as a pseudo Aerial Eater, which lets you send the original Rainbow to the graveyard, and a Session can then work you into a colourless. So you're getting your aggression, and this will help you push for the game. Then we do play the 1 Aerial Eater. Obviously, this becomes a little bit more effective if you do want to play the Triple D Highway King Caesar and Lucian in the main deck. But the idea is that, again, this is another one that you can utilize with Mutiny in the Sky by using 2 Fiend monsters with the same attribute, which obviously all your Dark Worlds are. And on top of that as well, if it is fusion summons, you get to send a Fiend monster from the deck to the grave. And if this card is in the graveyard, you get to banish 2 level 6 or higher Fiend monsters with the same attribute as each other from the grave and accept itself to then special summon it back. So if you wanted to go down the Triple D Highway King Caesar, or you need another monster on the field, you banish 2, you bring it back, you're good to rock and roll. For the generic rank 4s, we play the 1 Daguerres and the 1 Baguska. Mainly just if you get hand trapped to death, you go into Baguska, and if you do need to refresh your hand a little bit, you're going for a Daguerres. I do play the number 1 Buzz King. Now, if you don't want to play Buzz King, another 2 options that you can consider in its place would be Dark the Dark Charmer or Closed Goddess of the Moon. And the reason we do that is we are now testing out the Underworld Goddess of the Closed World, because you are going to fill up the space on your field a lot quicker. So being able to utilize this card and then obviously being able to utilize this prior to that can be quite helpful to help you clear off 2 of your opponent's monsters. But it's just an option. I do quite like the Buzz King because after I've done all of my turn, if I haven't been able to hand rip or I still leave my opponent with a Cerulli, it's good to look at my opponent's extra deck and go, cool, get that Typhon out of here and I don't need to worry about it. Speaking of Typhon, play the 1 Typhon. And then for the links, 1 Akashic, 1 IP, 1 SP, 1 Muckraker, Skuldra, Saruja, World Sea Dragons Atlantis, and your Underworld Goddess. Of course, in place of stuff like this, you can play Security Dragon. That's something that people have mentioned to me in the past. I personally go to the Akashic Magician. Once I've resolved the Akashic Magician and added back the Cerulli from the field back to the hand and then resolved it again, that should usually be enough unless you get hit with a Fluoros or a Molchummy or basically a Perulia, any type of Molchummy at all. That's when it becomes a little bit awkward for you and you might want to resolve it twice by using the Security Dragon. But then what you got to keep in mind is if you get hit with those type of hand traps and then you use Security Dragon to return the Cerulli to then do it for a 3rd time, by the time your opponents put those 2 cards back, you've already given them 2 fresh new draws anyway, so it's kind of just not worth it in that scenario. Anyway, that is it for the entire profile update. Like I said, I wanted to try and keep this short, sweet, simple, to the point. It's basically just to show you the introduction of the Buos, and if you didn't even know they existed, now you do, and then it does unlock the capabilities to play the original Rainbow, which I think is something that's kind of cool and kind of different that we haven't really been able to play for a while now. And it is just a nice, cheap, alternative budget option as well, in comparison to like the comparison to the Fiendsmiths, and of course this will be a lot safer than the Fiendsmiths as well, because if any upcoming Forbidden Limited list wanted to hit anything, I would not be surprised if they decided to hit something like the Fiendsmith engine on the list. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. Any questions at all, by all means, please put in the comments down below. This is just more of a fun version. I'm not saying this is the best version around, but this is definitely one that you're like, oh, I don't mind freshening up a bit of Dark World. Let's play something different. I don't have to invest huge amounts of money into it. We'll give it a try. I'll see if I like the colour list access that it provides, and if I don't, you try something different. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, as absolutely always, stay safe, and of course, happy dueling.